Okay, here's a thought. What if the key to building, not just wealth, but genuine financial independence and abundance wasn't some complex secret formula or, a really risky venture? What if it was actually a series of surprisingly simple discipline choices, just made consistently over time?
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into precisely that idea. Our mission is to pull out the core principles, the really actionable steps from this resource called Millionaire Mission.
Yeah, it's a fantastic resource.
It really is. And it's not just another finance book, right? It's more like a guide that tries to cut through all the noise, all that conflicting advice, the jargon.
Absolutely. All the stuff that just overwhelms people.
Exactly. To give you a clear, actionable system for financial success. And what I find really compelling is how it ties financial health directly to, well, happiness and a deeper sense of fulfillment. It's not just about the dollars.
That's exactly right. And our mission for you, our listener, in this deep dive is basically to distill the most important, the most actionable nuggets of knowledge from this really comprehensive material. Think of us as your guides, maybe giving you a shortcut to understanding those essential habits, the mindsets, the concrete strategies you need for building significant wealth. And this applies regardless of your current income or even your age.
Right.
The author's whole philosophy, which honestly we really embrace, is that the goal here is to engineer your financial life so the good habits become almost, well, effortless, easy to adopt. And the bad habits, they become inherently difficult to stick with.
I love that framing. And it all kicks off with something the author calls the Morrow moment.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds simple, maybe even a little deceptive, but its power is huge. It's about grasping this seemingly small truth about compounding growth.
Yeah, that snowball effect.
Exactly. And the absolute need for consistency and discipline. The core idea is that those tiny, almost unnoticeable decisions you make today, skipping the fancy coffees, saving an extra $20, just looking at your budget.
Things that feel small in the moment.
Right. But they can have truly huge, exponential impacts way down the line. It's like planting a tiny seed. Looks like nothing on day one, right?
Yeah.
But with consistent watering, sunlight, time, it grows into this massive, unshakable tree. That's the kind of power we're talking about. Turning small actions into a massive future.
And that understanding is just critical because, let's be honest, when you look at the landscape of financial advice out there,
Yeah.
it's not just muddy, it's often a swamp.
Oh, totally.
You get this bewildering mix, this hodgepodge of conflicting approaches.
Mm-hmm.
One guru yells, do this, while another, just as confident, says, absolutely don't.
Yeah, it's confusing.
The author acknowledges this confusion, but then he confidently says, based on decades of experience, that there's a much simpler, more direct path to abundance than most of us think. And he directly challenges that pervasive kind of fatalistic idea that the system is stacked against you or that wealth is only for the lucky few.
And that's where his perspective really clicks for me. He completely dismisses that victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
His core belief, and he backs it up with his own story and tons of client stories, is that villains and victims do not win.
Right.
Instead, he emphasizes this powerful truth. Victims can actually become heroes by actively embracing the opportunities that are often hidden inside hardship.
Finding the upside and the downside.
Exactly. Developing that contrarian mindset, seeing potential where others just see problems, and finding growth exactly when things look bleakest. It's a really empowering shift.
And this isn't just, theory from some armchair expert. The author's background is deep in decades of practical, real-world experience. He's open about his journey from humble beginnings, building his own wealth, and at the same time, guiding countless clients in his billion-dollar financial planning firm to do the same.
That experience matters.
It does.
Yeah.
And his professional designations, they really speak volumes. He's a CPA, a PFS, a CFP. These aren't just letters after his name. They mean he spent 16 years deep in public accounting, tax returns, understanding the nuts and bolts.
He knows the system inside out.
Absolutely. And this system he's poured himself into, it isn't just for the rich. It's designed to connect with anyone, no matter your income, your age, your retirement target. It's about helping you hit your big financial goals and maybe even more crucially, shaping that inner voice, your relationship with money for lasting success.
He paints this picture of what he calls a more beautiful tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And talks about two core pillars holding it up. The first is that more beautiful tomorrow vision itself. It's about investing a small part of today, your time, energy, money for these exponential future benefits. It's choosing to be a builder over a consumer. And man, that's tough, isn't it?
Oh, it really is.
It goes against all the societal pressure, constantly telling us to buy, indulge now.
Instant gratification.
Yeah. It's about delaying that quick dopamine hit for a much greater, more sustained joy down the road.
Absolutely. It's almost countercultural, really.
Right.
And the second pillar is what he calls the abundance cycle.
Okay.
This is built on the powerful idea that generosity, when it's authentic, is always rewarded. The author shares his own experience. The more he's given, especially his knowledge and insights, the more he's received back. As a fee-only wealth manager, his firm has just exploded, and he credits a lot of that growth to sharing this valuable knowledge with absolutely no catch, no strings, no ask, until people genuinely reach a level of success where they need his firm's more sophisticated help.
That's interesting. So it builds trust.
Exactly. That purity of message, that genuine passion for helping others succeed first, that's the engine driving this whole thing. It even converts skeptics into clients because they see there's no hidden agenda, just helping them win.
Okay, now, if you're like me, maybe a bit skeptical, you've heard a lot of financial gurus, you might be asking that classic chicken or the egg question here.
The guru question.
Right. Did the author get rich by selling the system, or did he get rich because the system actually works and then he decided to share it? It's a fair question, I think.
It's a totally fair question, and it's one he anticipates and addresses directly, which I think says a lot about his integrity. He clarifies very clearly that this system was born from his personal wealth-building journey and his client successes over decades of real financial planning, long before he ever thought about putting it in a book or sharing it widely.
Okay, so the proof came first.
Exactly. So what you're getting isn't theory. It's a distillation of principles with a proven track record, forged in the real world, not just cooked up as a marketing strategy. That distinction, for me, gives it huge credibility.
Absolutely. It's about trust. That's a massive differentiator. So before we jump into the specific strategies, the financial order of operations, it's really crucial we set the stage.
Yeah. Understand the battlefield.
Right. We need to understand the current financial landscape, look at the environment, the challenges that contribute to what the author frankly calls a broken personal finance system, at least here in the U.S. Because if you understand the playing field, you're just much better equipped to win.
And just to underscore how broken parts of the system are, let's unpack some truly startling statistics.
Yeah.
They should really make all of us pause. For instance, the average interest rate on credit cards right now, it's a staggering 20.93%.
Wow, over 20%.
Over 20%. And here's the kicker. Most Americans are carrying a monthly balance. Just think about that. Compounding interest, that powerful engine of wealth, is actively working against most people, eroding their foundation at over 20% a year.
That's brutal.
It's not just a burden, it's a significant destructive force.
It really is an uphill battle paying that kind of interest. And another statistic that's really concerning, one that highlights this widespread vulnerability, a shocking 57% of Americans cannot even cover a $1,000 emergency.
Just $1,000.
Yeah. That says so much about the lack of basic financial preparedness for even minor unexpected life stuff. A flat tire, a leaky pipe, an unexpected doctor bill. It can throw half the country into financial distress.
But here's where we pivot to something really optimistic, something that should give you hope.
Okay, good. Need some hope.
Right. 80% of millionaires in America are first-generation millionaires.
80%. 80. That means they didn't inherit it. They built it from the ground up, often from really modest beginnings. So if you're listening, you could absolutely be part of that number in the future. This isn't about being born rich. It's about applying proven principles.
And that Morrow moment really comes into focus with this next insight. Somewhere between 77% to 95% of your wealth, especially if you're on a solid financial path, will likely come not just from what you initially invest.
Right, not just the principal.
But from the growth of those assets. This is that huge, quiet power of compounding, doing the heavy lifting, making your money work harder than you do. It's not about making a fortune to save. It's about saving what you can to make a fortune.
Yet, despite this incredible potential for growth, the average 401k balance in America is just $112,572.
Okay.
And while that might sound okay, that number is heavily skewed by a small percentage of really great savers. When you look at the median 401k balance, the true middle point, it's a meager $27,376.
Oof, that's low. It's really low. And for those closer to retirement, ages 55, 64, the median is still only $71,168 crisis. These numbers just starkly highlight a significant nationwide retirement savings crisis.
These are sobering stats, and they set the stage for 5 critical facts that every future millionaire really needs to recognize and internalize. The first is this pervasive societal issue, the widespread lack of foundational financial knowledge.
Shocking, isn't it?
It really is. Money is universal. You need it for almost everything. Yet financial literacy is surprisingly rare, even among highly educated people who are brilliant in other fields. The internet, yeah, it's great, but it's also a mixed bag. Lots of sites and apps are more interested in your wallet than your well-being. And sadly, schools rarely teach this vital stuff. It's a knowledge gap that leaves too many people vulnerable.
And that lack of financial education leads directly to the second critical fact, the inherent conflicts of interest that just permeate the financial industry. Think about this. What if credit card companies were solely in charge of teaching 18-year-olds about responsible credit card use?
Yeah.
The author points out that those who benefit most from public ignorance often have little incentive for the truth to get out through robust financial education. He emphasizes that his firm's collaborative, client-first approach is deliberately structured to overcome these conflicts, making sure their clients' success is the absolute priority. That alignment naturally makes them better investors and more effective wealth builders. It's a refreshing philosophy.
And then there's the media's influence. The third fact, the media cares primarily about getting eyeballs, not necessarily about your financial health.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Exactly. Fear, crisis, negativity.
Right.
They drive viewership and add dollars. And the big advertisers, cars, pharma, financial institutions, they can subtly influence content, blurring the lines of truth. It often creates this feeling of scarcity and fear, not opportunity.
Right, which is why, as an alternative, the author provides free, genuinely helpful tools on his site, like a wealth multiplier calculator, a net worth template, a budgeting worksheet, just practical stuff to cut through the noise.
That's helpful.
The fourth critical fact is a real game changer. Innovation and technology are constantly driving exciting new opportunities. Think about it. Tech is relentlessly disrupting traditional finance. Roles like stockbrokers, high-frequency traders, may be becoming obsolete. Now, you can easily buy index funds tracking major companies like the S&P 500 for free, 0 commissions. That was unheard of not long ago.
True.
Information flows freely. You can find a YouTube tutorial for almost anything, from fixing your car's key fob to advanced investing. This ties directly into the law of accelerating returns. Tech isn't just growing, it's growing exponentially faster.
This exponential thinking, driven by tech, is absolutely key to building wealth effectively. It's about using these advancements. You invest a relatively small portion today, and because of compounding and smart choices, you benefit from an exponentially bigger reward later. The author keeps bringing us back to that question. What small decision today will maximize this moment and move me closer to my more beautiful tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a great framing question.
It's not just a mindset shift. It's a powerful framework that can genuinely turn you into a more effective strategic wealth builder.
And finally, the fifth critical fact, which brings us right to the core of this deep dive. You need a clear, actionable roadmap. With all the confusion, the conflicting advice, the reality that too few people know what they're doing with money. A new perspective, a fresh mindset, disciplined habits are absolutely essential. This is exactly where the author's concept of a financial mutant mindset comes in.
Yes, financial mutant. It sounds dramatic, but it's actually incredibly fitting.
It sticks with you.
It does. A financial mutant isn't someone bitten by a radioactive spider. It's someone who operates and builds wealth totally outside the usual distractions, the consumer traps, the financial failures that plague so many. It's a mindset forged from foundational financial knowledge that once you really get it, becomes too powerful, too logical to ignore. It fundamentally changes your perspective, like seeing in a new dimension. It turns you from a passive consumer into an active, strategic wealth builder.
Right. Financial mutants master basic consumption discipline. They overcome that siren song of debt, conquer hyper-consumerism.
Yeah.
And they consistently stack up those small decisions that inevitably push them closer to their more beautiful tomorrow.
Okay, with that powerful foundation laid, let's really unpack this roadmap. The author's Financial Order of Operations, or FOO.
Let's do it.
This isn't just a list. It's a practical, actionable, step-by-step system designed to guide every single financial decision, every dollar under your leadership.
And what really sets it apart, I think, is its educational value combined with that clear-cut plan. The core principle woven through it all is that genuine wealth creation is quiet, patient work.
Right. No quick fixes.
No. It demands a strong inner voice, discipline, and that invaluable ingredient, time. This system totally dismisses any get-rich-quick stuff. Instead, it shows how remarkably simple, consistent strategies lead to genuinely massive results over the long haul.
Okay, so let's dive right into the first crucial step. FOO step 1. Cover your highest deductible.
The foundation.
Yeah, maybe the least glamorous step, but the author argues it's the very first non-negotiable line of defense against financial disaster. It's about protecting your wealth-building momentum from those unexpected, potentially catastrophic events.
And the concept itself, pooling risk, buying protection. It's not new. It goes way back to the 1600s with ship owners. You can't control accidents, but you can buy financial protection against the fallout.
So the action required here is pretty straightforward, but people often overlook it, right?
They do.
Yeah.
You need to identify and calculate the highest deductible across all your insurance policies. Find it on your policy's declaration page, that summary sheet. Key insurances to check: health, disability, auto, homeowners or renters, life, and maybe even umbrella coverage if your assets warrant it. This isn't just a suggestion, it's fundamental.
And having enough savings readily available to cover these deductibles, it's more than just a good idea. It gives you that vital protective coating, that crucial margin for error.
Absolutely. And if you do have to use those funds, the author stresses, you got to treat those reserves like debt, like a dangerous tool that needs replacing immediately.
Makes sense.
And remember, strategically choosing higher deductibles usually means lower monthly premiums. So finding the right level for your age, health, risk tolerance, that's key here. This first step might not feel exciting, but it goes a long way towards stopping potential disaster before it derails you.
Okay, so defense first. Once you've secured that layer, we pivot to a really exciting opportunity. The author highlights what he almost calls free money.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
FOO step 2. Max out your employer match. This one always blows my mind. The shocking truth. A staggering 34% of workers are not contributing enough to get the full match from their employer.
Crazy.
34%. That includes 25% of boomers, 31% of Gen X, and 37% of millennials. People are literally leaving free money on the table year after year. It's a huge missed opportunity.
It's genuinely astonishing. The author often wonders why people aren't having that Oprah reaction, pure joy, when free money is just sitting there.
Right.
And he dives into the psychology. There's present bias, wanting stuff now, lack of financial literacy, just not getting how good the match is, procrastination, fear of commitment to a long-term plan, even mental accounting, viewing retirement contributions as lost money.
Or social norms, maybe. Thinking saving is only for the rich.
Exactly. This deep dive aims to just erase all those mental blocks.
So this employer match isn't just free money. It's a genuine wealth amplifier, one of the most powerful tools for the average worker.
Absolutely. It's no coincidence that most millionaires, around 80%, credit their 401k or similar plan as a key component in getting there.
Yeah.
Wealth building is rarely quick. Average age to hit millionaire status is 49, with about 28 years of consistent saving. It's about patient, consistent habits, letting time and compounding do the work.
Let's really put the power of compounding with a match into perspective. Use that example.
Okay, great example. Imagine a 25-year-old contributes $500 a month to their 401k. Their employer offers a typical 50% match up to 6% of salary, which adds, say, an extra $200 a month in free money.
So $700 total going in.
Right, $700 a month by age 65. That turns into an astonishing $2.8 million.
Wow.
Now, here's the kicker. If they only put in their $500 and missed the match, they'd have just over $2 million. What's incredible is that 92% of that $2.8 million comes directly from compounding and that employer match.
92%.
Once that habit is set, the author argues, the journey toward wealth becomes not just possible, but truly inevitable.
That's powerful. And it's worth noting employer contributions can come in different forms, right?
Yeah, beyond matching dollars, some offer non-elective contributions they put money in, even if you don't, or profit sharing. It's crucial for you, the listener, to check your specific plan docs for the vesting schedule.
Right. When does that employer money actually become yours?
Exactly. Is it immediate, or is there a time requirement, like 3 or 5 years? Employers offer matches because it helps keep employees happy and loyal, plus they get tax incentives. It's a win-win, but only if you take advantage.
Okay. Locked in the free money. Now we turn to maybe the most dangerous financial enemy, FOO Step 3. Pay off high-interest debt.
The big one.
The author pulls no punches here, and I totally agree. He quotes that old proverb, "The borrower is servant to the lender." This step is about fighting back against compounding interest when it's working against you.
Right. High interest debt is just burying you.
Totally. And those mythical Joneses everyone tries to keep up with, the author bluntly says they're likely broke and miserable. Remember, 57% can't cover $1,000. They're focused on what money buys today, not what it means for their future.
It's such an insidious trap, and the author explains how it starts so easily. Debt looks like a quick fix for not having enough cash, especially when you're young, lots of wants, low cash flow. Credit cards seem like the easy button.
Yeah, been there.
He shares his own story, having to call his dad for $300 because he couldn't make ends meet. That $300 failure became a priceless lesson, fueling his resolve never to be pinched like that again. We tell ourselves it's temporary, future income will fix it. But then lifestyle creep sets in.
Lifestyle creep. That quiet expansion of spending nicer cars, clothes, vacations, dining out long before you can really afford it.
Debt builds silently. Compounding works against you. Minimum payments barely touch the principal. The numbers on car debt are truly sobering. It's quicksand for many.
Average new car payment, $725 a month, and $1.56 trillion in outstanding auto debt nationwide.
Plus, cars depreciate like crazy. 20-30% gone in year one, 60% within 5 years. That new car sugar high is super short, but the financial hangover, with average loans around 69 months, lasts for years.
You can see why the auto industry spends billions advertising these traps, and why banks want you borrowing for longer.
Exactly. Which is why the author developed the 2038 rule as a clear, non-negotiable guardrail for buying cars. His philosophy, function over form. Think Corolla, not Land Cruiser, especially early on.
Okay, what are the rules again?
Strict but liberating. 1, minimum 20% down payment ensures you're not instantly underwater. 2, max 3-year loan term fights depreciation hard. 3, total monthly payment, P&I, less than 8% of your gross income.
And that extra rule?
Crucial addition. Your monthly investments should consistently exceed your monthly auto payments. This whole rule set forces you to avoid buying more car than your income justifies. Keeps ego in check.
It's designed for reliability, not luxury, right? Especially when building wealth.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And consider the impact of stretching the loan term. That same $725 payment at 6%.
Yeah.
If you stick to 3 years, it finances about $23,831. Maybe a $30 K car with 20% down. But stretch it to 7 years, 84 months. That same $725 payment finances nearly $50,000. Just changing one variable almost doubles the amount financed.
Wow.
The author stresses paying cash is ideal, but reliable transport is often a necessity. This rule provides a disciplined path without wrecking your future.
Okay, cars covered. Now, credit card abuse. Grave threat, he calls it.
Absolutely. No-go territory, because it weaponizes compounding against you with those predatory rates. His directive is simple, absolute. Credit cards must be paid in full every single month, period.
No exception.
None. If you can't commit, avoid them. This tool is only for financial mutants who can manage spending and pay balances religiously. He has that stark advice. Do not build a fake life with money. You do not have to impress people that do not care.
Oof, that quote hits hard. So true. And the cost of carrying that debt, illustrate that.
Okay, average balance, $5,589. Average interest, 20.18%. If you only make minimum payments, it takes almost 15 years to pay off. And you pay over double the original amount, $12,055, for stuff that's long gone. Disposable items paid for at a 100% premium.
That's insane.
He uses the chainsaw analogy for credit cards. Dangerous tools, yes, but useful if used responsibly. Convenience, fraud protection, rewards, building credit. But like a chainsaw, they demand respect and discipline, or they'll cause serious financial harm.
Got it. And finally, student loans, rocket fuel, or long-term trap.
Yeah, it's a tough one. The author acknowledges education's importance. His family are educators. His own degree was key. But he highlights the challenge. Massive debt loads, crazy college inflation, 8% FYOU, 3.22% average, and that shocking stat, 73% of grads don't even work in their field. A failure to focus on ROI.
So how do you tackle student loans strategically? He talks about the risk premium concept.
Right. Younger folks, longer time horizon, can generally afford more investment risk and expect higher returns. So compare your student loan rate to that risk premium, the extra return you might get investing instead. For paying off any debt, you've got two main strategies. Debt avalanche, highest interest first, mathematically optimal. Or debt snowball, smallest debt first, psychologically motivating with quick wins. Choose what works for you.
Okay. So once you've dealt with those immediate risks deductibles, free money, high interest debt, the FYOU moves to step 4, build emergency reserves.
Cash is king. The fact cash gets 2 steps deductibles and now broader emergencies shows how vital it is. He calls cash the lifeblood of financial success, like air, taken for granted until it's scarce, then priceless. This is about building a buffer way beyond just deductibles.
And it's crucial to avoid that liquid asset trap, right? He learned that the hard way.
Oh, yeah. Personal lesson from the Great Recession. He thought his home equity and ELOC were a safety net. Let him invest more aggressively. Market crashes, home values plummet. That false security vanished overnight. Taught him ELOCs are absolutely not cash reserves. Painful but invaluable.
So while cash might seem boring, underperforms investments, loses value to inflation. Its value in a real emergency is priceless.
Totally. Unparalleled comfort, peace of mind, clear thinking during turmoil. The author promised himself after 2008-09 he'd never be caught like that again. He passionately urges you, listener, build that same margin into your life.
So how much cash exactly? The rule of thumb.
General rule, 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, fixed and variable costs. Depends on your situation. 3 months might be okay for high job security, dual income. 6 months is wiser for single income, specialized jobs, special needs dependents.
And retirees are different?
Big exception. They need 36 months of living expenses. Crucial for navigating market downturns, transitioning from saving to spending without selling assets low.
Building that cash plan starts with knowing your expenses inside out, right? Fixed, variable, discretionary.
Absolutely. He provides a worksheet for this. It's foundational to wealth building, builds financial muscle memory, helps you spot where to cut back if you're not saving enough.
Yeah.
He's clear. You cannot successfully move to step 5 until step 4 is solid.
And where do you keep these reserves?
FDIC-insured banks, NCUA-insured credit unions, up to $250K protection per depositor. His strategy. Lean local accounts for convenience, but the lion's share in high-interest online banks and money market accounts paying top rates. Maximize earnings while keeping it safe and accessible. Once these foundations deductibles, free money, dead high-interest debt, solid emergency reserves are locked down, then you're truly ready to accelerate wealth building.
All right, foundations are solid. Vanquish high-interest debt, built emergency reserves. You're a financial mutant in training.
Ah, love it.
This brings us to a pivotal stage. Accelerating wealth with FOO Step 5. Max out Roth IRAs and HSAs. 2 incredibly powerful tax-advantaged accounts. Leveraging them is critical.
Absolutely critical for long-term growth.
Yep.
Let's start with the Roth IRA. Came about from the Taxpayer Relief Act of '97.
Relatively new then.
Yeah. For 2024, you can put in up to $7,000 or $8,000 if you're 50 plus OID. These limits usually adjust for inflation. Now, there are income phase-outs, so not everyone can contribute directly.
But the benefit is huge, right?
Unparalleled. Tax-free growth and completely tax-free withdrawals in retirement. Especially crucial for young savers because, like we said with the Morrow Moment, time is the most powerful component of compounding. Locking in tax-free growth early. Massive advantage.
He talks about his tax-free regret.
Yeah, powerful story. Shows how costly missing early Roth opportunities is. He calculated that just $10,000 in missed contributions in his younger years could have grown to an astonishing $332,000 by age 65, all tax-free.
Wow, that's a tangible lesson. Deferred gratification pays off.
Hugely. Maximize every dollar's potential in these tax-advantaged vehicles.
Okay, next up, the Health Savings Account, HSA. Sounds medical, but it's an incredible financial tool.
It really is. High healthcare costs in retirement are a legit concern. Fidelity estimates a 65-year-old couple today might spend around $280,000 on healthcare in retirement.
Oh.
The HSA, the author argues, is an awesome legal tax loophole for those with high-deductible health plans, HDHPs. For 2024, that means a deductible of at least $1,600 individual, $3,200 family.
And why is it such a powerhouse, the triple tax advantage?
Exactly. 1, contributions are pre-tax, reduced taxable income. 2, investments go tax-free. 3, qualified distributions for medical expenses are tax-free. Plus, payroll-deducted contributions often avoid Social Security and Medicare taxes, too. Yep. Just remarkably powerful and often underused.
But here's the financial mutant strategy for HSAs. Most people don't invest them, right?
Sadly, no. Only about 4% invest beyond cash. Most just use them like checking accounts for current bills. The smart play. Track all qualified medical expenses, keep meticulous receipts, but defer reimbursement.
Let the money grow tax-free.
Precisely. Allow your invested HSA funds to grow tax-free for decades. Example, $9,300 annual family contributions for 10 years, earning 8%, could be worth $126,538. Then, decades later, reimburse yourself tax-free for all those old bills, effectively a tax-free payout from investments.
That is smart. This really highlights the power of saving early.
Now, it's almost unfair. Consider this. Two savers, both put in $200, earn 9%. Saver A starts at 20, saves for just 10 years, stops at 30, invested $24K to total by 65. Over $906,000.
Just from 10 years of saving.
Yeah. Now, saver B starts later, age 30, saves diligently for 35 years till 65, invests $84K total, way more than A. They end up with only $597,000.
So the early saver with less money invested ends up with $300 more.
Exactly. Because, as the author says, wasting time can be more expensive than wasting money. Most Americans, sadly, don't start seriously saving until their 30s or later.
That really drives home how precious time is. And the author uses this to say that disciplined saving in your 20s, 30s lets you ease off later.
Yeah, let off the accelerator in your 40s gives you more freedom. He shares that great story about his Italy trip in 2002.
The bedazzled basic trip.
Yeah. Did cheap, modest hotels, dragged luggage, felt ripped off. But looking back, those memories blossom. The stressful bits become funny stories. The good parts get stronger.
That's a great point about memories.
His key takeaway is powerful. Spend on experiences, but do it affordably, in a bedazzled, basic way that still lets you save robustly. Don't let chasing luxury today rob you of an abundant, secure tomorrow. Find that balance, rich life experiences, without compromising your future.
Okay, building on that, FOO step 6. Max out retirement options.
Yeah.
We keep hearing about the retirement crisis. 7 in 10 pre-retirees feel unprepared. 1 in 7 retirees 65 plus live in poverty.
It's a serious issue.
The goal here is clear. Build substantial assets for financial independence. Maximize every tax benefit and growth opportunity. Your net worth becomes your dashboard.
And what's fascinating, reinforcing, is confirmation from actual millionaires. That Ramsey Solutions survey found 8 out of 10 credit their employer plans, like 401ks, as key to reaching millionaire status.
8 out of 10.
Yeah. And again, average age is 49, reinforces it's a long game, not get rich quick.
One powerful, often overlooked advantage of these plans is forced scarcity.
Yeah, brilliant behavioral aspect. These plans encourage good habits by making contributions automatic right from your paycheck, and they restrict bad habits with early withdrawal penalties. It offsets our natural urge for instant gratification.
Makes saving easier when it's automatic.
So much easier than trying to do it manually each month. These plans build an automated system helping us overcome our own emotional limits.
And for higher earners, there are Roth 401ks or Roth 403bs.
Yes, and this is really exciting. Unlike Roth IRAs, these employer Roth options usually have no income limits, huge for higher earners. In 2024, you can put in $23,000 plus $7,500 catch-up if 50 plus CRISL. And critically, you can contribute to both a Roth IRA, if eligible, and a Roth employer plan. Supercharge that tax-free growth.
Choosing Roth versus traditional. That depends, right?
It's nuanced. Depends on your situation, goals, tax outlook. Generally, the younger you are, the further from retirement, the more powerful Roth becomes because that tax-free growth has so much time to compound.
And for advanced listeners, self-employed, solo 401k, and mega backdoor Roth.
Yeah, these are powerful tools. The Mega Backdoor Roth is complex, needs careful planning, but basically lets you get a lot of after-tax money into a Roth way beyond normal limits. Huge lever for hyperaccumulation if you qualify.
And that 457 double savings hack for public sector nonprofit folks?
Amazing, often missed opportunity. Lets you contribute to both a 401k, 403b, and a 457 plan. Potentially double your tax advantage savings up to $23K each in 2024. Plus, 457s often have no early withdrawal penalty at 55 or 59.5. More flexibility.
The long-term impact of maxing these out is just staggering. That example of 2 spouses.
Right. Both max out 401k, combined $45 a year, do it for 30 years, conservative 8% return. They contribute $1.35 million from paychecks. But after 30 years, their accounts are worth over $5.5 million.
Incredible. Shows why 8 out of 10 millionaires get there this way.
Exactly. So next steps. If 50 plus Tredipos, use catch-up contributions. Self-employed. Explore Mega Backdoor Roth with an advisor. And the ultimate goal, your ticket to step 7, is hitting and maintaining a 20-25% of gross income savings rate. That's your key to hyperaccumulation.
And congratulations. If you've truly hit FOO step 7, leverage hyperaccumulation, you are, by the offer's definition, already doing something remarkable. Saving over 25% of gross income, you have significant financial margin.
This lets you save at an advanced level, making your money work exponentially harder. It's the first step into walking into genuine abundance.
And this is where that distinction between rich and wealthy comes in, right? Society often confuses them.
Hugely important distinction. Society sees rich as high income, fancy stuffed cars, houses, designer gear. But often being rich just means trading lots of labor for lots of money out of obligation. You're a servant to financial obligations, working just to keep up the expensive lifestyle.
Wealth, though.
That's different. Totally different. Wealth is the unseen army of dollars. Your investments quietly earning more than your labor, systematically leading to true financial independence. This gives you the ultimate luxury. You own your time.
Freedom.
Freedom. To choose work for joy, purpose, impact, not obligation. Time's your most invaluable, limited resource. Trading money for time, having assets cover your life. Incredibly powerful, liberating. Don't let society's narrow definition of rich dictate your decisions. Embrace your inner financial mutant. Understand true wealth.
The need for this hyperaccumulation is greater now, isn't it? Pensions are rare, Social Security uncertain.
Absolutely. You must build your own assets. And while 401k Roth IRAs are essential, they have limits, contribution caps, age restrictions.
Which is where taxable brokerage accounts come in.
Exactly. Essential for true hyperaccumulation. Immense flexibility. No contribution limits, no age restrictions on access, no early withdrawal penalties. And within these, savvy techniques like tax loss harvesting become useful, especially when markets are volatile.
Selling losers to offset gains and income.
Right. Sell investments at a loss to offset capital gains, even reduce up to $3,000 of ordinary income annually. Lowers your tax bill.
At this advanced stage, understanding the 3 taxable buckets is key.
Paramount for optimizing wealth. Bucket 1, tax-deferred, traditional 401k IRA, ideal for assets generating ordinary income in retirement. Bucket 2, tax-free, Roth accounts, HSAs. Perfect for high-growth assets, as withdrawals are tax-free. Bucket 3, after-tax, taxable brokerage, for assets with favorable capital gains treatment, plus liquidity and flexibility.
Ultimately, it comes back to time being the most precious resource.
It really does. It fuels financial growth via compounding, but it's finite, non-replenishable. So allocate it wisely. Find that balance. Enjoy today, make blossoming memories, and diligently plan for abundance. Live fully now while building a secure future.
Okay, we've covered a lot, moving through the FOO, now into advanced planning. FOO Step 8, time to help the kids. Abundance goals.
And this might surprise some people, especially parents, but the author is crystal clear. Your own financial foundation, your retirement, must come first.
The oxygen mask analogy.
Exactly. Put your own mask on first. You don't want to burden your adult kids later because you didn't prepare.
That's a crucial, maybe counterintuitive point, but it's about true long-term generosity.
Right. He says it's okay, even advisable, to start funding kids' college or weddings after you're consistently saving 25% plus for your own long-term goals. Once you're secure, then give freely without compromising your future. And for education, 529 plans are excellent tax advantage growth, tax-free distributions for qualified expenses. Many states offer deductions credits too. Bonus.
Okay. And that brings us to the final step, FOO Step 9. Prepay, low-interest mortgage, debt freedom.
The noble goal. Be completely debt-free by retirement financial independence. However, and this is a critical nuance, often debated, the author firmly advises, do not prepay a low-interest mortgage at the expense of building your army of dollars in those crucial early wealth-building years, 20s, 30s, early 40s.
This is where his balanced approach really shines, blending math and emotion.
It does. He admits it's hard for him to see someone as truly financially independent with required debts, like a mortgage on their net worth. But he also feels sad seeing someone in their 30s miss out on powerful Roth or employer plans because of an unhealthy, arbitrary rush to be totally debt-free too soon. It's about strategy.
And considering life stages is important here. Well-being can dip in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah, paradoxically.
Yeah.
Commitments, peak career, kids, housing costs, disposable income feels stretched. So the optimal strategy, prioritize building margin and assets during those early, often harder years. Your get wealthy behaviors, like aggressive investing. Then, as life potentially eases, income margin grows, assets compound, shift focus to stay wealthy behaviors, like strategically paying off that low-interest debt.
And even in bad markets, consistent investing wins long-term, that Great Recession example.
Fantastic example. 2007, 2013, market basically flat for 6 years. But someone consistently investing just $500 a month still got nearly 12% annual return long-term. Shows volatility can be a strange ally for long-term success. Time in the market beats timing the market.
And when prioritizing low-interest debt, student loans and cars generally come before the mortgage.
Generally, yes, if rates are similar. Because a house is typically an appreciating asset. Cars and education depreciate. Final check. Ensure you'll be completely debt-free by retirement.
Okay, let's circle back to what underpins all this. The financial mutant mindset and behavioral insights, human nature and money. We're wired for instant gratification, right?
Undeniably. Present bias. Powerful force hindering saving and budgeting. Why that immediate purchase feels so good, even if it undermines long-term goals.
And money is such an emotional roller coaster for many. Fear, greed, envy, joy. They mess with our choices.
Hugely. Understanding how emotions manipulate us into poor decisions is crucial for making consistently smart choices. It's about becoming aware of your own biases.
He provides that checklist, signs you're a wealth builder, to track progress.
Yeah, great practical tool. Not about being a millionaire yet, but adopting the right habits. Bills paid comfortably, deductibles covered, reserves building, properly insured, no credit card debt, paid in full monthly, getting employer match, maxing HSA, housing, 25% monthly expenses, car payments within 2038, investments, auto payments, total debt, 35% gross income.
Those are tangible milestones. Show you're building financial muscle.
Exactly. Unequivocally on the right path.
His final thoughts on abundance are really powerful. Be mindful of the journey, how you use money. Time is the most valuable resource.
Right. It moves fast, but we can create blossoming memories, experiences that get better over time, negatives fade. Find that sweet spot. Small, consistent steps toward financial goals, but also find fulfillment and purpose along the way. Yeah. Abundance is more than just money.
And he doesn't just preach this, he eats his own cooking. Chapter 13 shares his personal finances.
Remarkably transparent. A living testimonial the FYOU works, started near zero after college, meticulously built a life beyond his wildest dreams using these principles. Powerful proof.
He shares impactful lessons from his family, his parents, his dad losing his job.
Yeah, forced resourcefulness. Buying that 78 LeBaron for $1K, driving it 6 years, selling for $1 $2K, his mom recycling soap slivers, timeshare vacations for free, enduring sales pitches. The core takeaway he holds dear. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. When it comes to family, time together is more important than the time you work for the expensive expressions of your love. Powerful balance.
His own journey. Marriage, kids, the messy middle.
Yeah, admits being in a hurry, married at 24, house before wedding, 20s before kids were easy, modest home, good jobs, saved 20%. But then the messy middle, ages 28, 31, starting first business, first child, bigger house. Busy, challenging, but they always built in financial margin to keep saving.
He credits his success to two core beliefs, financial discipline and a big shovel.
Exactly. 1, unwavering financial discipline, choosing that bedazzled, basic life, rich memories without extravagance, making money work for him. 2, having a big shovel, intentionally picking a high-earning field, like accounting at UGA, strong offense and defense.
And his own FYOU journey in practice, cash reserves as safety and opportunity capital.
Yeah, like Buffett using cash in crises. The author himself used extra liquidity in the 2020 pandemic uncertainty to buy a dream building for his business. Seizing opportunity when others feared, he maximizes cash earnings, lean local accounts, bulk and high-yield online banks money markets.
Funds all retirement plans. Invest simply. Mostly index funds.
Over 90% low-cost index funds, same advice he gives clients. Small mix of managed international funds, few individual stocks, but warns against emotional attachment, lack of diversification there.
Uses credit cards responsibly, pays in full, maximizes rewards, even lists his cards.
Yep. Costco, Disney, admits emotional, wife loves it. Fidelity Rewards, his 2% go-to. Amazon Prime, Ambish Platinum. He initially balked at the platinum fee, but reconsidered after seeing Clark Howard highlight its value for his specific travel, making the benefits outweigh the cost. It's about personalized value.
Funds custodial accounts for daughters, ABLE account for daughter with special needs, planning ahead.
Diligently. Monthly funding into low-cost index target funds for college, weddings, down payments. Acknowledges they get control. At majority age, teaches responsibility. ABE account funded annually for long-term security. Very intentional.
And his personal take on Step 9, prepaying the mortgage. He's aiming for it soon.
Currently 83% equity. Goal to pay off his 2.5% 15-year mortgage soon. Admits math might say invest instead, but the psychological win of being totally debt-free matters more to him now. Already debt-free on cars cards. Mortgage is the last piece. As he says, Hard to consider you truly financially independent while you've acquired obligations, debt, on your net worth statement.
He sums up with belief in continuous growth, finding good and bad.
Yeah, always challenging himself. Switch new accounting major for better prospects. Fortune favors the bold.
Sorry.
Believes in finding opportunity in difficulty, that contrarian mindset. Used his father's passing vulnerably as a catalyst for introspection, refocus, extracting growth from hardship. Testament to resilience.
Wow. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really unpacked a comprehensive system, from foundational principles like compounding, the Morrow moment, through all 9 actionable steps of the financial order of operations.
Yeah, covering deductibles, employer match, debt, emergency funds, Roths, HSAs, hyperaccumulation, helping kids, low-interest debt, the whole roadmap.
And shared those personal testimonials proving this system works.
Absolutely.
The power truly is yours, the listener. Remember, wealth creation at its core is surprisingly simple, not complex. It requires mastering a few basic, powerful strategies and consistent, unwavering implementation.
It's about that quiet, patient work, disciplined choices, and consistently cultivating that financial mute mindset, seeing opportunity and building wealth where others just see obstacles.
As we conclude, let's leave you with that guiding question from the source material, the one the author says to ask daily. What small decision today will maximize this moment and move you closer to your more beautiful tomorrow?
Ponder that. How can you apply these insights, not just for financial abundance, but to cultivate deeper fulfillment and purpose in your own unique journey?
This isn't just about money. It's about designing a life that truly blossoms.